You'll notice my presentation is called Managing in an Uncertain Economy. There's a lot of uncertainty out there right now. Tariffs, trade, global slowdown. We see it, and hopefully by the end of this presentation, we're managing in a certain economy. That's really my goal for you all today. So we'll start off with the big picture, what's going on in the global economy. We'll boil that down to the US, Mexico, and Canada. We'll take a look at the trucking industry, and then finally we'll end with some employment conversations and of course that 2030 Great Depression that we've been expecting for some time now. And we're going to look at a lot of rates of change today, so I want you to be comfortable with it, but I also want you to utilize this in your own businesses. If there's one thing you take away from my presentation today, please let it be this. It's a good tool to see what's coming your way for your own internal data, so I want to show you how we do this first. So it's certainly not a slowdown to ignore. It's going to be the worst slowdown we've felt in the last 10 years, but this is not a recession outlook. You can see that the low point of that forecast is right in that mid-2020 timeframe, so we do expect a slowdown over these next 3 to 4 quarters. And I'm sure you can bet that that's going to have an impact on the economy here on the North America side. So enough about tariffs. Here's the US outlook. First start with GDP, but we're going to spend most of our time talking about industrial production because that's the world that you all live in. So here's GDP, chart on the left that you're looking at, that's the dollar value of GDP. That's the 3-month moving average. You can see the US economy is at 19 trillion right now. That's amazing. That's a feat that we haven't reached for this last quarter. That's something to be proud of. So we do need to maintain our margins, ensure we're being profitable, but look ahead to the second half of 2020 and 2021. We need to start preparing for that nice growth trend now. Take advantage of this slowdown. We've been very busy over the last 2 years. Take advantage of some of this slower activity. Make sure all the people, products, processes at your business are ready for what's coming in the second half of 2020 and certainly 2021. That's going to be the next rising trend that we really all want to take advantage of. However, I don't like to use the word recession. I think we all have a little PTSD from 2008, 2009, so when we hear recession, it's panic mode. I want you to look at that rate of change chart on the right. Look at that low point in the upcoming cycle compared to 2008, 2009. Nothing like it at all. This is a bump in the road for us here in the United States. So Mexico will be an area of opportunity if you're a North American company to mitigate some of the decline that's coming your way in Canada and the US. And how do I know that? Well, we have a Mexico leading indicator, which is there in orange. It's got a nice lead time to Mexico, and look what's going on in that indicator. That suggests things are going to get a lot better in Mexico. You can see that there is a lot of opportunity out there with double-digit job openings, and we don't have enough people to fill those positions. Retention is going to be so important over these next 2 to 3 years because we're not expecting a recession in employment. You're looking at growth over the last decade. Basically, nobody wants to live in New England anymore. I left Vermont for Texas. I'm one of those people. I'm sure you can imagine housing prices in the South and taxes down here compared to New England. Much different story. Great. Well, thank you all so much today. I appreciate it. I think we'll be able to hang around for a couple of minutes. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to come up to Jason or I and ask. Thank you all very much.